구원해준 나의 천사 나의 세상 난 이상 새 고향이 널 만나러
Ryan stood at the edge of the seashore, where shadows dissolved into endless water. The air carried the salt of 1,000 untold stories, brushing against her cheeks that were still swollen from hours of unbroken tears. The night was asleep, but she was wide awake, hollowed by ache. She had chosen this place because it felt invisible, untouched. Here no eyes would follow, no whispers would chase her, no cruel stares would weigh her down. The waves roared, and they hushed like a heartbeat rising and breaking as though echoing the trembling inside her chest. Her 21st birthday had arrived not with candles or wishes, but with silence that tasted of betrayal. Somewhere in the dark corners of the internet, a stolen fragment of her life that had been unleashed, spreading faster than she could breathe, faster than light itself. Her friends had looked at her with questions instead of comfort. Their doubts stung sharper than knives, cutting through her fragile truth. Her parents, who had never truly known her heart, had dismissed her cries. They said the video was her own doing, refusing to believe the innocence in her eyes. That belief burned more than the video itself. It hollowed her until there was nothing left but despair. So she had walked here, barefoot on damp sand, letting the night swallow her steps. The ocean seemed to open its arms, whispering that it could keep her safe in its depths. With a breath that quivered between fear and surrender, she stepped forward. The first rush of cold water kissed her ankles, sharp and stinging. As though the sea was testing her resolve, the tide pulled her at her clothes, tugging her gently yet persistently towards its dark embrace. Each step sank her deeper into the shifting sand, her body growing heavier with the weight of soaked fabric clinging to her skin. The salt water climbed higher, pressing chill against her bones. The moon above watched in silence, silver light weaving across restless waves like threads of sorrow. It was as though the sea itself wanted to claim her secret, to bury it beneath endless tides where no one could ever find it again, alone with the whispers of the wind and the roar of the waves. She closed her eyes and let herself walk further in. The water climbed higher, swallowing her trembling frame until the night sky blurred above her. She clutched herself tightly, folding her arms around her body as though to hold her, breaking her heart together. The sea wrapped around her, merciless and cold. Her body felt heavier with every step, as though unseen stones were tied to her limbs. Her chest burned, her lungs begged for air, but she closed her throat deliberately. She wanted the silence, the surrender, the final relief of nothingness. But then it happened. In the darkness of the waves, where she thought no one could reach her, hands found her. Strong, firm fingers gripped her wrists, yanking them away from her throat with sudden, desperate urgency that startled her. She thrashed violently, her body kicking against the water, fighting against her rescuer as if he were another enemy. The sea roared around them, muffling her cries into hollow echoes. Still, the grip around her did not loosen, not once. With unrelenting force, he pulled her upward through the crushing tide until the sky burst open again. She gasped, coughing harshly, choking on salt water that burned her throat. Air tore into her lungs in rage sobs, painful yet unbearably alive. Her cries broke open, sharp and raw, mixing with the roaring waves around her. Then a voice cut through, rough, furious, laced with something she couldn't name. "What the hell are you doing?" His words cracked the night louder than the ocean. She yanked her wrist free, water streaming from her lashes, as if the sea itself wept with her. "Please let me go," she begged, her voice breaking, collapsing into sobs that drowned themselves before they could fully escape. But he didn't let her go. Instead, his hold tightened, solid as stone, against her struggles. With steady force, he dragged her toward the shore, step by step, until the wet sands rose beneath their feet and the waves fell behind them. "This is never a solution," Jimin said quietly, his voice firm yet carrying an edge of concern that pierced through the sound of retreating waves. He lifted his gaze toward her, but she kept her eyes fixed downward, drowning inside her own thoughts. Her mind was too loud, spinning with memories and voices she couldn't silence. Meeting his eyes felt impossible. Her body shivered, not from the cold sea water clinging to her skin, but from the storm raging within her chest, threatening to shatter her completely. "You should fight your problems, not run away," he urged, his tone softening, as though afraid his words might push her further away. Slowly, trembling, she lifted her chin, her swollen eyes glimmering with something between defiance and despair. "I didn't do it," Wayan whispered, her voice fractured, every word carrying unbearable weight. "I wasn't aware of anything." Jimin's brows furrowed, confusion flickering across his face. He didn't understand what she meant, but relief seeped through him. At least she was speaking. "No one believes me," she hiccuped, her breath shaking as tears blurred her vision. Her words poured out without a rhythm, a flood of confession spilling onto him. She wasn't asking him to fix it, she just needed to empty her breaking heart. Everything tumbled out in broken sentences. It sobs that tasted of salt and shame. She had been seconds away from surrendering herself to the sea, and now she clung desperately to this moment, to someone who was willing to listen without turning away. "I will help you," Jimin said, steady and absolute, like a promise written in stone. She lifted her gaze toward him, startled. For the first time, a fragile thread of hope wove its way into her darkness, pulling her closer to his presence.